Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Bucs. It's a rematch from Week 1. It's a battle for first place in the NFC South, for positioning in the entire NFC. It's the biggest game of the entire weekend. Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. A lot to unpack here. Brees and Brady, by the way, back and forth for this touchdown record. We got to stop the game every time they break each other's record, right? Brees had a big ceremony last year. Brady broke his record, and then Brees broke it back, and now Brady has it again. So he's got a 1 touchdown lead. But the Saints haven't had a bye yet, So is Brees really in the lead for all-time passing touchdowns? What a battle.
Yeah. In addition to that, this is also interesting for how the perception of these two teams has changed since Week 1.
Huge.
Week 1, the Saints were heavy favorites, won the game, looked generally better. Now, the Bucs are 4.5-point favorites. People are talking about them as one of the best teams in the NFL. I know they wobbled against the Giants, right? Their last opponent, but they got the win, right? I to an extent, I don't care if you got out, you escaped, you got away with the victory. I think they're still good enough. This, though, we get Antonio Brown back. We get Michael Thomas back. Is that right?
Yes, and Chris Godwin back for the Bucs.
Right. So this is, I don't know how healthy all those guys are going to be, which is always the key for the Bucs this season.
Yeah.
That even when they've had their best players, they haven't necessarily been 100%. But this is going to be interesting to watch the impact that all these weapons have, because on paper, those three alone are like three of the best, 6 receivers in the NFL?
Yeah, we don't know what we're going to get from Antonio Brown. He's played 1 game in the last 2 years,
right.
But
did get a touchdown in that game and looked pretty useful, even though it was 3 minutes into the building.
Brady fed him 10 targets in that game.
Right.
It was Week 2 against Miami last year. So, let's start with the Bucs offense, right? So where does Antonio Brown fit in this offense? We discussed it a little bit before, but they like to run 4 wides a lot. They like to mix up personnel packages. I don't know if he's going to play more than 15 or 20 plays, but I think he's going to have a role on this team, despite already having Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller. They're getting Jaden Mickens making plays. And they had a lot of guys making plays. Gronk's out there, but I think Antonio Brown has a role on this offense.
So I think that's your answer, right? Jaden Mickens had 44 snaps against the Giants, and I think led the team in targets that game for whatever bizarre reason.
He was Brady's slot guy.
He should have 0 this game, right? Because between Godwin and Antonio Brown being in there, all of those snaps should be used on those 2 guys. And if they're not, there's something significantly wrong at that point. So, Jaden Mickens had 7 targets, 5 catches against the Giants, 44 snaps. I would say the majority of those should go towards Antonio Brown. And particularly, this feels like, Week 1, Antonio Brown, a lot of question marks. Is this a good idea? If you're Tom Brady, would you be leaning in his direction a little bit Week 1 and then dial it back?
That's what I wonder. I wonder if that's what Brady did last year in their 1 game. It's
exactly.
Make this guy happy, get him involved.
Yeah.
To me, again, if you listen to us long enough, you'll hear me say over and over and over again, instill fear into the defense and get as many wide receivers as possible. That's what Tampa Bay is trotting out here. Their receiving leader right now in yards is Scotty Miller. Yeah. Right? They have Mike Evans. They have Godwin. Yes, both those guys have been banged up, and Godwin's actually missed games. But Scotty Miller's their legitimate deep threat. So now you let Scotty be the stretch the field guy. Mike Evans has been more, he's got 7 touchdowns on his 30 catches. He's been a very specific red zone weapon. Gronk has been a red zone weapon. I think this offense looks different when Chris Godwin's out there. He's caught 86% of his targets from Brady this year. So they have a good connection when Godwin's healthy. I think it becomes a high volume Godwin, Antonio Brown offense where, then when you get into the red zone, how do you stop this thing? How do you stop it? And plus, AB is really good with back shoulder stuff, and Brady likes that route tree and everything. So I think they're going to figure it out. And I think Week 1 here for Antonio Brown, it might only be, like I said, 10, 15, 20 snaps. But I think if he's out there for 20 snaps, he might see 5 or 6 targets right away. Yeah. So what about the matchup on the other side? So the Saints defense is underachieved a little bit. They're going up against this good Bucs offense. But I think the other side of the ball, where the Bucs defense is being viewed as the best in the NFL, as far as, not by our grades at the moment, but as far as what they're capable of, what we saw they were able to do from a shutdown perspective against the Green Bay Packers a few weeks back. Can this Tampa Bay defense shut down a Saints offense that does struggle to throw the ball down the field.
Well, this is where we find out how important Michael Thomas is, right? Because they're probably going to blitz Drew Brees a lot. They play man coverage a lot, which means you're dealing with tight windows. You have to be accurate and you have to throw with anticipation. And it's not that you can't defeat those defenses, but it means you have to be on your game. And it's going to be interesting to see, one, is accurate Drew Brees showing up? Can he put the ball pinpoint where it needs to go to beat that tight man coverage? And two, how much of a difference does Michael Thomas being there make to that, right? How much is he confident in where Michael Thomas is going to be that he can just drop back and hit him like 15 times in a game despite the man coverage, because you know exactly where he's going to be. You're confident in the target that you're throwing to, because like the problem with that Drew Brees arm strength stuff is it puts the ball in the air for longer than other quarterbacks. And the longer it's in the air, the longer a defensive back has to make a play on it. And that's the concern.
So the way the Bucs are playing defense too, Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis on the outside, there was a couple passes Daniel Jones made that they were ready to pounce on. And, Carlton Davis had the pick six against, it was Davis, right? He had the pick six against Rodgers a few weeks back.
Did he with the first one?
Or was it Dean?
Dean had the first one, and then Carlton Davis made the play on the slant for a safety.
I'm sorry. So Dean had it. I'm just saying, so there are these two huge corners, former Auburn players, and not only are they really good at press, but they are jumping underneath routes right now. And every week we come on here and say, look, if you're playing the Saints, do you just dare Brees to throw the ball over the top? You just dare him. I think the way the Bucs have been squatting on underneath routes, they're gonna dare Brees to throw the ball over the top. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's a second game outdoors now. It's at night, so they're still gonna have that vitamin D deficiency. But it's at night. But Brees did not throw the ball well in windy conditions last week against the Bears, underneath stuff only. It might a little wind, a little rain potentially on Sunday night in Tampa Bay. It could be a factor if the Bucs are really aggressive and saying, "Go ahead, throw the ball 20, 25 yards down the field. We dare you."
I think the bottom line is, from either one of our descriptions, they are going to make Drew Brees play within an incredibly narrow margin of error.
Right.
And if they're going to win this game and if the offense is going to be good, he's going to need to hit that, right? It's an insanely small target to be hitting. We know he's capable of doing it, but it's hard, right? That's the bottom line, is they're going to make life tough on Brees to execute this game plan, and he needs to show that he can still do it. And this is the game we've been talking about, right? This is the game you are judging the Saints on. Can you beat what is perceived as one of the best teams in the NFL? Because this is your Super Bowl path. If you think that Drew Brees is coming away with a second Super Bowl ring and another championship, this is the test.
Even if they do have to throw the ball underneath, it's going to come down to tackling Alvin Kamara in space, Michael Thomas, the underneath stuff that has been really efficient for the Saints. I mean, the passing offense is still efficient for the Saints. And despite Brees in 7, playing 3 good games out of 7, essentially, to this point. So they're winning despite him, for the most part, with that little 3-game sample in the middle where he played well. So I think we're going to have a lot of answers coming out of this one. Who do you like in Bucs Saints Sunday Night Football here?
I do like the Bucs. I think, until given a significant reason not to, that they are the best team in the NFC. So let's ride that.
Yeah, I think it's a statement game for the Bucs. I think they came out of sleepwalking against the Giants on Monday Night Football. I'm not saying it's going to be just like the Packers game a few weeks ago when they really made a statement, but I think teams are going to be. I think the NFL is going to be saying, you know what, the Bucs could be up there with the Chiefs as best team, and the Steelers coming out of this game. So I get the Bucs winning and making a statement against the Saints in the division battle.
All right.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.